everyone, this is Sasha bringing you a video tutorial today from BP4U, and today I am in Photoshop Elements 11. So today we're going to talk about the adjustments window, which is right in here. If you don't see it, you can come up here to Window and click on Adjustments. Now to get an adjustment, I'm going to go over here to my Layers window, and I'm going to click on this, it's a circle and half of it's black and half of it's white, and it says create a new fill or adjustment layer. So I have all these different options to pick from, so we're going to kind of go through here and we're going to see what they all do. So first we have a solid color, and it is what it is. It is a solid color, and so you can scroll through here to pick your hue, and you can move your cursor around here to pick the color that you want from that. And so this color that's in this top box here is going to be the color that we are filling with. So we can click OK, and you're going to want to change the blend mode of that or the opacity in order to see a result, and we will talk more about that in the Layers window video. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. The next one we have is a gradient, and so I can use these gradients for different things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the black one. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to change it to radial, and I'm going to click on reverse. I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to lower my opacity, and I just made a vignette. And so you can use the gradients for all kinds of really fun things. The next one I have here is a pattern, which is not something that I use a lot of. You can use this to kind of give your photos some texture if you play with your blending modes. Again, that's not something that you typically use in a normal workflow, but it is an option for you to have. The next option that we have is levels. And then you can see that this has come, it's down here in my adjustments window. It was empty before, but now we have a histogram, and we have some sliders that we can choose from. So the first thing that I noticed about my histogram is I have these three arrows underneath of it. This one is for black clippings, this one is for midtones, and this one is for whites. I have this down here for shadows, and I have this one down here for highlights. So as I move these arrows here along my histogram, I can see that it's making changes to my photo. If I pull this to the right, I'm going to bump my midtones, make them a little bit darker, and if I pull this to the left, I'm going to brighten my midtones so that there's less of them. And so I come over here, and if I pull this to the right, then I'm adding blacks, and if I come over here and I pull this to the left, I would be adding whites. And then down here, if I pull this to the right, I would be losing some of my black. I would be brightening my shadows. And down here, when I pull the white, the highlight recovery to the left, then I would be pulling down the highlights and losing some of that. So I also have this button here that says auto, and I can click on auto and it will put my histogram where it thinks that it should be, where the Photoshop thinks it should be. We also have this drop down menu here, and we have these three options, red, green, and blue. This would be red and cyan, this would be green and magenta, and this would be blue and yellow. So if I click on this, I can actually manipulate the colors of the photo here in Photoshop, and I can do this just by moving the sliders, and I can either add red or cyan using the red channel. I can either add green or magenta by playing with the sliders here in my green channel, and I can either add blue or yellow by playing with the sliders in the blue channel. And so you can get a very customized, unique look by playing with those level sliders. The next option that we have is brightness or contrast. And so here, if we pull our slider to the right, we're going to be adding brightness or adding contrast. If we pull the slider to the left, we would be losing brightness or losing contrast. The next option we have is hue and saturation. If you pull up the saturation, then you're going to be adding a lot of color to your photo. You can move the hue left and right to change the hue of the photo. we're going to put that at 0 for now. We can pull this channel down again. So on the master, we're working on the whole photo, but we can come down here and work on individual colors. So let's see what this does to the yellows. If I pull the hue this way, and I pull my saturation up just a little bit, you can see that I have manipulated my yellows a little bit so that it comes out to actually have a really nice look. And so you can play with those, all the individual colors, reds, yellows, greens, cyans, blues, and magentas, under the hue and saturation adjustment layer. The next one that we have is a gradient map. And the one that I like to use the most is the black and white gradient map. And the reason for that is it makes a really nice contrasty black and white, which is a lot nicer looking than just pulling down the saturation. If we go back into our hue and saturation and we pull the saturation down, it's kind of flat. But the gradient map black and white does a really nice job of balancing the black and white with the contrast. The next one that we have is a photo filter, and this is really wonderful for Photoshop. I absolutely love this tool. The photo filter allows us to add almost like a fill layer, but not quite, over top of our photo. And so here we have the warming filter. We also have cooling filters, reds, orange, yellow, different colors. We have a sepia, and then we have some more colors following that. If you're not satisfied with any of those options, you can also click down here on color, and you can click on this box here and you can change the color to whatever color that you want it to be. And you can see that that has added that pink layer over top. Now the density is generally set to 25%. And so the further right that you take the density and the higher the percent goes, the more of this filter you're going to see. The further left that you take it and the lower the percent is, the less of it that you're going to see. Next we have invert. There's no options in the adjustment box for this tool. After that we have threshold. This is another one I don't use very often in my editing. Actually, I've never used it, but it's here and it's available. You can move this slider along the histogram to change the way that it looks. Other than that, there's no options here. And lastly, we have posterize. This is another one that I don't too often use. The farther left that it goes, the more of the effect you're going to see, and the farther right that you pull it, the less of the effect that you're going to see. So those are all of the adjustments that we can do in Photoshop Elements 11. Thank you for watching this video tutorial. Happy editing, everyone!